NFL training camps open, veterans reporting today, and you've got a situation with the Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals, and both of the owners of those teams had something to say about the players who were on the outside looking in. Trey Hendrickson, his contract situation, Mike Brown talked about that, and Jerry Jones, of course, talked about Micah Parsons, signing him to a contract extension. I'll go back to what I talked to Albert Breer about yesterday. He, of course, the Monday morning quarterback. If you're going to eventually pay these players, why have any acrimony? Why not just, we know that Jerry Jones is going to pay Micah Parsons, right? I have a hunch the Bengals will pay Trey Hendrickson. Now, I'm sure they're saving money. I'm sure that they have some business strategy here that I, of course, with my limited education, wouldn't understand. But there's also Jerry Jones, who loves being Jerry Jones. He loves to be, if he had already settled this Micah Parsons contract, then maybe we would be just talking about the Cowboys as a team and how good they're going to be. But it's rarely that. Now, that'll happen later in the season. But with Micah Parsons, Jerry Jones said this about signing him to a contract extension.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
Okay, you might think this, but you don't have to say the quiet part out loud. Why? Because then all of a sudden, now you're Micah Parsons. How do you feel about this? We go back to Dak Prescott, and I said, don't re-sign him. And plus, you gave him all that money. If you're going to give somebody money, give it to Micah Parsons. But he made Dak the highest-paid quarterback coming off ankle surgery. What's the logic in that? And a guy who's now 32, can't stay healthy, and you gave him all that money? That I don't understand, your business philosophy. As for Micah Parsons, yes. Did he miss games? Yes. When he plays, he's great. You got the Bengals situation with Trey Hendrickson. All he's done is outperform every other edge rusher the last 2 years when it comes to sacks. And the NFL doesn't pay you on what you did. They pay you on what they think you'll do. Here's the Bengals owner, Mike Brown, on Trey Hendrickson.
We aren't going to trade Trey. We're working to get Trey signed as we speak here. There are guys over in the office working to get that done. We like Trey as a person. He's a good guy. But when it comes to these negotiations, and we've been through a few of them with him, he pushes hard. He gets emotional. We never have an easy time of it, but there's one thing that is consistent. It always gets done, and I think this one will.
Okay, it does get done, but why drag this out? Why have this back and forth? It just doesn't help the tone of the team. The Bengals should be thinking about, hey, how do we make the playoffs this year? Hey, we need a little defense if we're going to make the playoffs. Hey, we spent all this money on offense. Can we stop anybody? There are going to be a lot of shootouts there with the Bengals. Why not just have Trey Hendrickson and whatever you're going to give him, 3-year deal? Now, I know he's 4 years, I think 4 years older than Micah Parsons. Well, he's not Micah Parsons, but he is really good at what he is paid to do. It's just the Bengals are notoriously cheap with this, and that's unfortunate because you spent all this money on your wide receivers and your quarterback. Your quarterback said, I need those guys. Now, I don't know if Joe Burrow said, hey, by the way, I also need somebody who can stop somebody, so I'm not on the field and I have to score touchdowns every single time I'm out there. But maybe that would have helped. But now you look at these situations. Now, will they get done? Yes. These are different approaches because Mike Brown doesn't say much. Jerry Jones says too much. And I don't know why you bring up something with Dak Prescott. I don't know why you bring up something with Micah Parsons. Now, I know he loves to be in the headlines, and the Cowboys are constantly in the headlines. Nobody has produced less but gained more attention in the history of sports than the Dallas Cowboys. And here we are again. Yeah, Paulie.
I was actually more bothered by the Bengals owner, Mike Brown, calling Trey Hendrickson emotional about his contract situation. This guy's 30 years old. This is his last chance to get paid. He gets roughed up. He's never gotten the monster contract. This is it. This is his livelihood for him and his family the rest of his life. You could see why I'd be emotional about it.
Yeah, but just because you're emotional about it, I have to look at it's still a business. He's 34. It's a business. What do I want to pay him? Am I going to pay him T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett money? No, I'm not. And you would think you would earn it based off what you've done, but that's not the way it works. Certainly with what the Bengals' approach is on this with Trey Hendrickson. Yes, Eaton.
Wouldn't Mike Brown be dealing with Trey Hendrickson's agent?
Yeah.
So what is the, maybe I'm just being naive, but the whole, he gets really emotional and how all this, he pushes hard, but he gets emotional. Well, is that his agent telling Mike Brown that, my client is really emotional about this, or is he just projecting it through the agent? Isn't that the whole point of dealing with an agent, is so that you can do exactly what you just said? You remove emotion from it, and now this is just business. It's just us two. It's not the player who's going to be emotional about it. It's just me, the agent, and the owner. That's it.
I think Trey has had some comments, the last couple of months, so I think that's the emotional part of it, but I'm surprised that you do bring up emotion. Yes, this is your contract. Mike Brown's going to have 15 contracts to deal with. This is the only one Trey Hendrickson has, and of course you would be emotional. You've given everything to the team. You've played hard. You've outperformed your contract. But, that if you look at why the NFL is so successful, it is a league that favors owners and fans. So we get to consume. It's great for us, and it's great for the owners. Not necessarily great for the players. And now you have this turmoil with the NFL Players Association, where is there collusion? Was there, the Players Association in cahoots with owners to try to stop these guaranteed contracts after Deshaun Watson? I mean, there's a whole lot going on here. And I think T.J. Watt got his deal done. He got it in his salary that we said this is probably where he's landing, around $40 or $41 million. I just don't understand why it has to be dragged out unless they say, well, we can save X number of dollars by doing it later on. Well, then just tell the player, hey, we're going to get this done. Let's just keep it quiet. No need to go back and forth. But that's the problem with this. It just feels like it's unwanted attention. Now, Jerry loves it. He doesn't care. And I didn't realize this. And I remember that you had a couple of analysts who came on the show, and they said he loves this. He loves the attention more than anything else. It's not about winning. It's about the attention that he gets in the process. And I said, well, if he wins, he'll get a whole lot of attention. But you get addicted to that. Hey, are they talking about our team? Yeah, they are. It doesn't matter. That's one of those, any publicity is good publicity. Jerry Jones subscribes to that. And that's unfortunate. Yes, Todd.
If they're ultimately going to pay Parsons, so this is a game of chicken, what is going to change with his ability, or what the numbers are going to be? Jones is going to all of a sudden pay him sooner. The agent's going to take less from the Cowboys because they're concerned he's not going to get the money that he wants?
No, he even said, well, you could get hit by a car. Like, what is Yes. That is true. He could get hit by a car. He could get hit by lightning. There could be a lot of bad things that happen. But if you're saying, well, we don't know. Jerry, you've made bad decisions contract-wise before. I don't think this is a bad contract decision. He's going to cost you. You need him. Right now, you're an average team. You overpaid at quarterback. You have drafted pretty well. Somebody in the front office must be doing a great job because they have had some surprise picks. And Jerry, famously had some bad picks, whether it's a head coach or keeping himself as the GM, some of the signings that he has. This one seems logical. Of all the signings, now I love CeeDee Lamb. I thought, okay, pay him. And Micah Parsons is a great disruptor. Dak Prescott is not a great quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but you paid him that way. Coming off ankle surgery. Yes. Yeah, Paulie.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Micah Parsons is exactly the case of give him the contract as fast as you can. Micah Parsons in 4 years, 3-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. He's 25 years old. He's technically entering his prime. This seems like the smartest money. It's like the Joe Burrow contract. If you're the Bengals, you're happy to give Joe Burrow the most money in quarterback history at the time because all he did was play well for you, and now he's entering that second contract. He lived up to the draft pick. It's exactly what you want as an owner. It's like the only smart money is that second contract of a sure thing player.
I want to make sure I got this correct. Trey Hendrickson
he's 30.
Is he 30?
Yeah,
okay.
Parsons is 26.
Okay, so 4 years older. Okay. I don't know if I said 34, but I think the sack total was 35 maybe over the last 2 years.
That's
but
correct.
I'm going to go back to the beginning of last season. And Seton brought this up, and we were just having a casual conversation. He goes, the Cowboys, it's a weird situation they're in. You want Dak to play well, CeeDee Lamb to play well, Micah Parsons to play well. But as a result, you must pay them. So they're going to live up to where you drafted them or how they performed. But then that can be a negative because you do have to pay these guys $130 million, $140 and $160 million. Well, that's 3 players where you got $130 million each season with these guys. And you don't have the performance that goes along with it because of the other players on the team. So it was kind of a good situation, but it was going to go bad because if they played well, you have to pay them commensurate to that. And that's exactly what happened. These guys are going to be – Micah will be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. You got Dak, who's the highest paid quarterback, and CeeDee Lamb, who's, top 5 wide receiver with what he's getting paid. Those are good things that they play well. It's just I never would have signed Dak Prescott to that contract extension. Yes, Paul?
But you can go back to a mistake off a player who played well. Ezekiel Elliott, drafted in 2016. 1,600 yards, 1,000 yards, 1,500 yards, 1,400 yards. He carried the ball more than anyone in the sport for 4 straight years, and they gave him the monstrous second contract where he started going downhill. But they got caught up in, we drafted a running back high, he paid off, we must pay him, when they should have done the discipline thing and not paid him.
Yeah, I said you got everything you wanted out of him. Move on from him. And then Jerry signs the contract extension, even brings back Zeke Elliott again for another curtain call. If you're loyal, great. But if you're loyal, don't say things publicly about Micah Parsons or Dak Prescott or anybody else on the team. It's just sometimes he acts like he's a caller to a radio station, and that's unfortunate.